Hey everyone, I'm Sarah Van Buskirk, and I'd love to welcome to the summit Donna Bond. Hi, Donna.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much for having me here. We made it.
Yes, and you seem so joyful today. Is that true?
It is true, actually. It is true. I spent the whole weekend sort of digging around in my subconscious, removing the blocks that allow me to let my joy shine through.
Oh, well, that's perfect. So you're ready to talk about joy today. Is
I
that right?
am.
Very good. Well, can you tell the audience a little bit about you and what you do?
Yeah. So I am a catalyst for personal transformation. I'm a transformational coach using the modality of spiritual psychology. So I'm a spiritual psychologist, but I really work in the capacity of a transformational coach. And I help my clients really tap into their higher selves, their higher wisdom, their higher knowing. And, that's the part of us that is naturally filled with joy. That's the part of us that doesn't have to try to go get joy. It's the part of us that when we can reside in that higher present place, the joy just is. The joy just naturally emanates from who we are.
Yes, so that's our true essence and self. We just have to learn, of course, to tap into that, but also I think remember to do it because we're kind of in our daily grind of life. I have to get this done. I have to rush off to work. Oh no, I have to rush here, rush there. Sometimes it's a rushing game. I found. So many people might be experiencing not true joy in their daily lives. So, why do you think that people aren't there yet with experiencing that true joy?
Well, gosh, this is such a big subject, right? Why aren't we there? We're not there because most of the time we're operating according to a set of conditioned belief systems and conditioned patterns. And it's almost like a record player that keeps playing the same song over and over again. And we strengthen these patterns in the same way that we get like a deep groove in the record. And then we just hit autoplay and we just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. And I think it was Einstein who said that that was the definition of insanity.
Yes. So our lives are just on repeat sort of. And I have definitely felt that too when you get into a routine and sometimes if your job that you have is so similar every single day, you have to like look for what is different in today than it was yesterday. And I know that I found for myself in those kind of jobs and situations that I just I wasn't happy at all. So are you saying that we have to kind of reprogram our mind, that we have to like change our routine of what we're doing? What are some things that you might suggest where we could learn to find the joy within ourselves?
I love that question. Learn to find the joy within ourselves. Yeah, deep breath, right? It's like a deep breath. Because the truth is, Sarah, that the joy is within ourselves. It's inside of us. And I think this is one of the biggest paradigm shifts that we can make towards being more joyful and experiencing more of the joy that we are is to step out of the illusion that joy is outside of us, right? And we've all been taught to like chase the career or the relationship or the money or whatever it is, fill in the blanks that we think that's going to make us happy. We think, once I get to the fill in the blanks, then I can be joyful. And, sometimes as we attain those things that we set our sights on, yes, do we experience that glimmer of elation for a couple of minutes, sure. But then it goes away. It's like an empty calorie. And so I just want to put on offer for everyone, for all of our listeners, that it's not outside of you. It's not outside of you. So some strategies on how we can begin to experience more of that joy. Where do I want to begin? Let's begin with something that we can do really simply. And this is going to it might sound like wah, wah to people who haven't practiced it. And so I just want to also put out there that this is an invitation, and don't take my word for it. Try it out and see if it works for you. But my first recommendation is to breathe, is to take a breath, to slow down, and to become fully present in this now moment. That's it. To breathe, to take a deep breath, because most of the time when we're caught up in that autoplay, we're caught up in our program, our patterning, we're reaching outside of ourselves. And there's sort of this element of, I'm never happy because I'm always trying to get over there, right? I'm never fulfilled because I'm caught up in this constant game of it's not enough. Where I am right now is not enough. And that's why I have to try to get over there so that I can feel joy. But what if we could flip that on its head and recognize that if I could just sit back and bring my awareness and attention into this now present moment, that I can experience a dropping or a letting go of that striving. And if I can let go of that, then it can be really beautiful and interesting as I allow the essence of my higher self, I call it original wisdom. If we can allow our original wisdom to sort of be present in the room. But we have to stop driving the car to do that.
Yes, we're always on the go, I think. We're, like I was talking about, rushing from here to there. I mean, I'm not lying. We're all doing that until we remember to slow down. And in my yoga practices, through many years of practice, that's when you start to really let the wisdom seep in that maybe we should slow down. I think about fast food. What about slow food? I know, of course, we live in a different culture in America than like Europeans do, but I hear that Europeans take their time with their food very slow. It can take hours dining with their friends and their family. And I'm like, that's what we need to do. Just take it slow and be so mindful with it.
Well, you just said something really important that I want to highlight. You said my yoga practice, which has taken many years, right? I think part of this, Sarah, is we want to begin to build a lifestyle that includes slowing down every single day somewhere, right? And most of us don't do that, especially in the United States, right? We go on Mach 10 with our hair on fire Monday through Friday, and then right, everybody can't wait to get to Friday afternoon because then I can slow down. So again, this is an invitation for a paradigm shift and for the awareness that, wow, what would it be like if I built in a little of that slow down time every day.
And if I could add, I live in Atlanta where there's usually a lot of driving involved if you're going from place to place in Metro Atlanta. But if you're living in a place where you have to, commute or where you do drive a lot, of course, we might be, oh, I got to rush, to get to work, but I'm rushing. I'm in my car right now. So once you're in your car, maybe you could take a moment there and breathe. Even you're driving, like imagine the outside is going fast, but then you're going slow as like the eye of the storm, and you can breathe, focus on your breath. And what I started doing too, which might be unrelated, but I started sending out like Reiki and healing while I'm driving. I'm like, this is just the perfect time to like get into like healing, and might as well have it run through me and through the outside too. So hopefully I do get to the place on time, but I like to take those moments in the car to even slow down.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. And because slowing down, it's really something that we do inside of ourselves. It's not something that's happening outside of ourselves, right? Just like the rushing. The rushing is not happening outside of ourselves. It's happening inside of ourselves.
Exactly. So we feel, oh, I'm rushing. I got to get there. I got to get there. But is that really going to get you there faster? And then you're
Exactly.
always thinking one step ahead. Well, when I get there, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this, instead of what am I doing right now?
Yeah.
We never consider that. And I love too how you brought up, what if I'm enough? And that is such a big concept. And I've heard before about the concept of questioning to the universe, kind of to get your mind thinking too about this and your body responding, just thinking, what if I'm enough? To get that feeling in your mind, what if I am enough? So Donna, how do we know that we are enough? How would you think?
I love this question. Sarah, this is really where it's super helpful to look through the spiritual lens, to look through the lens that we are so much more than our thoughts, our feelings, our behaviors, our bodies. We're so much more than what meets the eye. That we have this incredible, enormous, energetic part of ourselves that is literally connected to all that is, that's connected to everything in the universe. And this might sound like hocus pocus or a bunch of baloney, but again, I'm going to quote Einstein, who taught us that everything is energy and it can't be created or destroyed. It just reinvents itself in different forms, right? Well, we are each a drop of this energy. And here we are having this human expression. And we are all energetic beings having this human adventure, this epic human adventure. And so I think when we can recognize that, it puts things into perspective a little bit. And it's our humanness, our human ego that wants to play the comparison game and has these stories of not enoughness. Again, fill in the blanks, like I'm not smart enough, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not beautiful enough, I'm not rich enough, I'm not educated enough. I mean, fill in the blanks, right? It's helpful to recognize that too is just another pattern. It's a pattern that we have been conditioned with through our upbringing, either by our parents, our teachers, our culture, our religion, our society, our media, on and on, right? We have all these influences telling us who to be, how to be, what to be, why to be. But there's also an even greater authority on our lives. And that authority is our own inner knowing, our own inner truth, our higher self, our original wisdom. And I define original wisdom as the inherent intelligence in all beings, all living beings, that is rooted in the energy of love. And the truth is that this energy that comprises who we are is, to the best that we can understand it in our limited humanness, it's the energy of love. It's the energy of love. And when, you remember first time you ever fell in love, right? Or the last time that you fell in love, there's this natural joy that happens when you're in that state of love, that state of loving. So when we can get to that natural place within us, the joy is, it's just automatically there. So I want to invite your listeners into this awareness that we are enough because we're breathing. Because we're breathing. We are these energetic beings having this human experience.
Yes, and I always think too about my little boy. He's almost actually 11 months old now, and he doesn't need any reminders that he's enough. He cries because he wants to get what he wants right now. Give it to me. I need it. I deserve it. I am enough. So, he doesn't think anything different. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not tall enough. He's not thinking about that stuff yet. Of course, I don't think his ego has kicked in yet, but he already knows that he's enough. So if we could get back to that too, that childlike thought or knowing, not even a thought, it's a knowing, it's a feeling here. Donna, I was wondering if you could share a little bit about maybe how you found joy in your own personal life, like from a place that you were into transforming into who you are now. If there is a story to share, I assume there might be some story.
Yeah, I always have a lot of stories, Sarah. I think what I want to share with your listeners today, which has sort of been in alignment with what we've been talking about and how somebody can incorporate into their lifestyle this opportunity for more joy. And I'm going to make it really tactical. You have your yoga practice. I have a yoga practice too, but even more, I'm devoted to my meditation practice. And my meditation practice has been a key lifesaver. And I mean that literally, because I had a prophetic dream about breast cancer that was growing in my chest. And I attribute remembering that dream to my meditation practice. And I'm really dedicated to it. It doesn't have to take a long time. We can meditate for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And if you meditate tomorrow for 8 hours, probably nothing's going to change in your life. Nothing's going to change in your life. But if you commit to meditating, let's say for 8 minutes every single day, over time, what you're doing is you're increasing the percentage of time that you're resting in that joy, in that natural essence. You're like dipping your toe into that natural essence. And the more you do that, it has like cumulative benefits. It's like working out. If you work out for 8 hours tomorrow, nothing's going to happen except you're going to be friggin' exhausted, right? But if you work out every single day, you're building muscles over time. Bringing ourselves into a place of stillness or quiet or meditation every single day over time builds this field, I want to call it. It builds this field of your essence. It's like we bring in more of our energetic self, which is naturally filled with all this yumminess. And we fold that into our consciousness. Is this like landing? Is it making sense as
Yeah,
I'm
that
speaking?
makes sense. So when I just wanted to be clear as to how you meditate, I guess. If it's 8 minutes, like, do you do a guided meditation? Do you focus on your breath? What are the techniques that you use if it's a short meditation?
Thanks for asking. I actually meditate for about 26 minutes every single day. And it's the very first thing that I do. So I wake up, I go to the bathroom, and I sit down in my meditation space. I do not look at my phone. Like, that's the kiss of death right there, because you just opened up a door to the outside world. I do not put on the news or the television, right? It's like, I get up, I go to the bathroom, and then I close my eyes and I turn my attention inward. And, guided meditations are great. I actually don't use a guided meditation. I use a mantra. And, a mantra can be one word, or it could be a short phrase that you just keep repeating to yourself over and over and over again. And you're repeating this to yourself silently. And you could use the word love, or you could use the word peace. And what you do is you just keep saying it over and over again. Peace, peace, peace. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I wonder what I'm going to make for dinner, or how am I going to pick up the kids and like get them on time to their game. The minute that you discover that you're no longer, thinking about the mantra, you come back to the mantra. And so this is why meditation is called a practice, because it's a practice, right? We're not going to get it perfect. We're going to keep bringing our awareness and our presence into what we're putting our focus on. And as we do that, Sarah, all of the activity and the noise and the constant monkey mind begins to calm down. And as that calms down, more of our joy comes present.
Yes, that could shine through. I love that. And so many gurus talk about meditating first thing in the morning, which I think is fantastic. But for me, I honestly struggle with that first thing in the morning thing, because I always think there's, other things to do. But I do like the idea of meditating after some physical activity like yoga and exercise as well, because I find that when I do that, my mind is automatically stiller and calmer from the physical activity. But I know it's automatically calmer too in the morning too, because you're just waking up, you're getting your day ready. So might as well think about peace, think about, love, so that you could bring that energy throughout your whole day. So that's perfect. If you could get it in the morning, that is key. I guess wake up a little
I want
earlier.
to add one thing here. I love what you're sharing, and you're right. Like, after physical activity, it does seem to be easier to sort of slip into that space. But I want to offer that when we wake up and we begin meditating first thing, what a great message that we send to ourselves, that the most important thing in my life is taking care of myself. Because we don't do that, right? And then we try to give from an empty cup. But that's a whole other conversation. So it's a really wonderful way to send a message that we are loving ourselves and honoring ourselves and respecting our own needs of giving ourselves that spaciousness and that time away from the fray and the activity to really have a sip of our essence.
Yes, that's perfect. And it's hard to, as like I'm a first time mom, and before that it was really easy to pay attention to all my needs. Like, yeah, I need to work out, but now with the baby's like, oh, should I? But then I'm like, no, you are important still, Sarah. Come on, you need to work out, exercise, get in that. And I agree that definitely I need to meditate more too. Which this is so inspiring for me to get in my meditation. Do it, Sarah. Um, so thank you, Donna. And also, just really quickly, I guess, to kind of a closing question, but I know that you help and coach people to connect to their higher selves. So, is there anything that you can say about connecting to our higher selves briefly? Any suggestions or tips for us, or what that feels like, or anything you want to share?
Yeah, well, your higher self is with you 24/7, 365. Your higher self is always there, whether you recognize it or not. And we receive information from our higher self through our intuition. And as a matter of fact, I don't have this prepared, but I can certainly send you the link. I have just offered a free mini class called Cultivating Your Intuition. And it's really helping people distinguish the difference between the voice of their ego and the voice of this higher wisdom-filled place inside of themselves. So, I'm all about trusting ourselves and teaching people how to trust themselves at the deepest level, because if we don't trust ourselves, we're not going to really get things done in the world. We're not going to be able to make a difference. We're not going to be able to lead ourselves and our life forward. So the more we can follow the guidance and the direction from that higher part of ourselves, the more we're going to live on purpose, the more joy we're going to experience, the more in alignment we're going to be with ourself, our health, our relationships, our work in the world. So paying attention to that part of ourself is so important, and it's always with us. It's always with us.
Right, there's so many voices in our head too, but clearly one of them wants us to be joyful and happy, and the other wants to like stress us out so much. And but you don't realize that at the time when you're listening to it, yeah, you're like, yeah, I'm worried about this, whatever. But I would love that link to your mini course as well. I will get that and I will share it with people too, who are listeners. Wonderful. And it's definitely such a pleasure with you being here, Donna. And I know that you have a free gift too for our audience. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the free gift is the opening chapter to my book, Original Wisdom, Harness the Power of the Authentic You. And if you download the first chapter, you automatically get entered into a drawing where we're going to give away a hard copy version, which we will mail to anybody in the continental US. Original Wisdom, Harness the Power of the Authentic You. And it really is, it's a lot of storytelling around my own journey of how I left the corporate world after a 28-year-long, very successful career as a corporate marketing executive in the industry of hospitality, and how I enrolled myself in a master's program in spiritual psychology on the advice of a psychic, and how I completely reinvented my life to get to where I am today. And I've been doing this now for nearly a decade. It's hard to believe.
Yeah. So also part of following our dreams, I think, is taking that leap of faith, right? That took a big leap of faith to leave the corporate world, I'm sure. And you're like, what am I doing? But you must be a master at following your intuition too. So
Yes, I
you
am.
did it.
Thank you.
You
Thanks
did
for the
it.
recognition.
Of course. You created this that other course to that other course. So we'll take a listen to that and then read your book. I'm so excited for that and for everybody to find out more about you and the true wisdom that you have too. Thank you for sharing your joy with us today, Donna. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Sarah. It's been my honor, truly.
And have a good one.